Though we may have expected number 2 seed and 3-time champ Rafael Nadal to be in this stage of the tournament, a lot of us didn't have 23-year-old Matteo Berrettini on our radar. I'll explain how we can pull off the upset and reach the finals, and what Rafa needs to do in order to reach his third Grand Slam final of 2019 here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today. For Rafa to reach his 10th semifinal of the year, he first beat John Millman 6-3, 6-2, 6-2. In the second round, he received a walkover as Thanasi Kokkinakis pulled out due to injury. Rafa continued his run against Young Chung, sending the South Korean packing with a 6-4, 6-3, 6-2 win. In the round of 16, Rafa faced his biggest test thus far in Marin Cilic. After recovering from a second set loss, he demolished the Croatian 6-3, 3-6, 6-1, 6-2. Lastly, Nadal defeated Diego Schwartzman in a tough three-setter, which produced a final score of 6-4, 7-5, 6-2. Berrettini, on the other hand, had a much more difficult road to the last four, first beating Frenchman Richard Gasquet 6-4, 6-3, 2-6, 6-2. In the next round, he beat Aussie Jordan Thompson 7-5, 7-6, 4-6, 6-1. He then faced another Australian player, 20-year-old Alexei Popyrin, winning 6-4, 6-4, 6-7, 7-6. In his most impressive performance of the fortnight, the Italian dispatched of a very dangerous member of the Russian Mafia, Andrei Rublev, 6-1, 6-1, 7-6. The exact opposite of this comfortable three-set win was the semifinal match against Gael Monfils, where it took him 5 match points to topple Lemov in a 4-hour battle. Looking at the head-to-head for these two, Rafael Nadal is by far the more experienced player with almost 15 plus more years on tour than his opponent. Rafa has had a pretty strong year because 41-6 makes 29-16 look subpar, when Matteo's 2019 has in fact been very strong as well. The stat on the sheet that I'm most focused on is time spent on court. Nadal has been very workmanlike and has played a total of 9 hours and 43 minutes. Berrettini, however, has been playing much more than the Spaniard, playing a whopping 15 hours and 23 minutes of tennis. I believe this will be a huge factor in the outcome of this match. For Rafael to make his 5th final in Flushing, he needs to utilize that forehand to backhand combo to a T. To no surprise, his forehand has been extremely effective and very dangerous all tourney, but by hitting a lot of them cross-court to the weak Berrettini backhand, he gives himself even more of an advantage. Matteo has a very good forehand, but on his backhand, he mostly chips the ball back or hits an ineffective grindy cross-court. This won't harm Rafa at all, and because of this, the Spaniard should come in off that backhand, as Monfils did. This tournament, Rafa has had a solid 80% success rate when coming in, and I know that number will increase after this match. In addition to going cross-court, Rafa should also direct a lot of his balls deep down the middle of the court if possible, because the Italian does have a tendency to get jammed and make poor shots. Lastly, Nadal must move closer to the baseline, especially on return. Against Cilic, Rafa stood very deep behind the baseline in the first 2 sets, losing the second set in the process. However, when he made a change and moved further into return, the difference was remarkable and he dominated Marin in the final 2 sets. Though Berrettini serves hard, Nadal doesn't need to make that same early mistake, but instead move further in from the get-go. For Berrettini to win his biggest match of his career, he must be aggressive. The matches that Rafa loses are the ones in which his opponent push him back and run him ragged all across the court. Using that big forehand of his, he must replicate this and make sure that he's the one dictating the points. A point that coincides with this is to serve big. Matteo definitely has to serve to make Rafa struggle to break, so he must go after that serve and don't hold back. With this will come more faults, which brings me to my last point, change his second serve patterns. After rewatching his matches this fortnight, I've seen that Matteo is very predictable on his second serve and really only seems to hit the kick serves to the righty's backhand. With Rafa, this is totally different, and if he continues this predictable pattern, he'll get burned almost every time. For my final match prediction, I believe Rafael Nadal will defeat Matteo Berrettini in 3 sets to reach the 2019 US Open final. Matteo has had an excellent run beating high-level players, but Nadal is a whole nother animal, and I believe the moment would be too big for him to handle. Not only this, but it's going to be a much different look for the Italian, as this is his first time facing a lefty the entire tournament, and it's the greatest lefty of all time. Lastly and most importantly, Matteo's mileage this week has been very plentiful, and it didn't help him to have his most physical match be his most recent one. Nadal, on the other hand, would be fresh, well-rested, and primed to win. Rafa and Matteo talked to the media about this matchup, and here's what both guys had to say about one another.
He's in semifinals. Berrettini is having a great year. He's in semifinals, winning a lot of good matches, so what you can expect in a semifinals of a Grand Slam match. You can't expect an easy opponent. You can't expect an easy match. I really believe that if you want to win tournaments, you need to go through tough opponents. Like a player that he's playing great. He's serving huge, big forehands, moving well, under big confidence because he's having a great year. So let's see. I need to play at my best, and I think today I'm making a step forward, even if I lost my serve, as you said, a couple of times. 4. Yeah, 4. And yeah, I hope to not lose the serve. How many games Berrettini lost the serve today?
Well, it take 4 hours.
Me 3, almost 3. Yeah. No, because you was very focused about the times that I lost my serve. I don't know if you want to remember me that I lost 4 times the serve. I don't know if you.
I want to give him a chance.
Yeah, no, I understand that you support. You're Italian, of course, but I really saw him losing some serves too tonight. No, just joking. You know, that's part of the business, and I need to be ready to play at my best tennis. I know him a little bit, you know. I know him from the locker room, talking as much as I can. Even if we are in the same locker room a lot of weeks, we have different schedules, but always he was very friendly with me, and hopefully I was with him. And yeah, looks a nice guy, young, with very good potential. He's in the semifinals of Grand Slam, so he's playing great. That's all. Looks relaxed. Looks that he's ready for fight for important things like he's doing.
I know Rafa also really well. I mean, I saw like 100 or his matches. So who in this tour doesn't know Rafa? So it's gonna be tough for sure against him. It's tough to say something also. I think he's the greatest fighter ever in this sport. It's unbelievable what he's doing. I'm admire him, like the way he's on the court, you know, like his attitude is something that I think is close to the perfection. He's always like 5-0, 40 love down. He's always there, and this is something that is not that easy to do.
Do you agree that Rafa will dominate, or do you feel the Italian can pose a great threat for Nadal's 19th Slam campaign? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribe and click the notification bell so that you get notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.